First, let me introduce you to this beautiful baby, my cloud of love, Troy. Oh, he's not very happy to be here. He's hungry. We're gonna give him to dad so he can feed. But yeah, and then we'll get on topic. So I'll be right back. Hi there, my name is Daniela. I am a licensed therapist, a former traveler, and now a mother. I have made a lot of videos about pregnancy, and now it's time to make videos about motherhood. And let me just start by saying that a lot of things have happened. That's why I haven't been around lately. For a while, I was a designated milk bar. I have cried a lot, laughed a lot, slept nothing. And yeah, that's a very good summary of what's been going on, but I want to make this video very special. I want to talk about what happens after birth. In my experience, I had many friends and people tell me to get ready for motherhood or the 4th trimester, and I was like, oh, I'm too busy with the 3rd trimester. I'm too busy feeling heavy and tired and yada yada. I don't want to deal with anything. And I have to say, I regret it. I wish I would have learned more and prepared myself more to the 4th trimester, because honestly, is the most difficult one. First, let's get clinical for just a minute. I wanted to find the differences between postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, and the baby blues. Postpartum depression is a severe and long-lasting condition that is characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, low mood, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, changes in appetite, sleep disturbances, irritability, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, difficulty concentrating, and sometimes thoughts of self-harm or harming the baby. As I've been saying in previous videos, this should be taken very seriously. If you're experiencing any of those symptoms, please seek out help with a therapist, a psychiatrist, a doctor, someone that can really help you. Do not keep it to yourself. Postpartum anxiety. Guilty of it. The condition is marked by severe symptoms of constant worrying thoughts related to personal health, the baby's health, or your ability to take care of your baby. Some symptoms may include restlessness, irritability, sleep disturbances, racing thoughts, and physical symptoms of dizziness, heart palpitations. Postpartum anxiety can interfere with your daily functioning and the mother-infant bond. This has been really tough. It's been getting better, but I have to say that the first few nights was terrible, and after the first few nights that my baby was born, it was severe, and now I want to say it's moderate. Hopefully it will continue to get better every day, but I'm almost at the 2-month mark after my baby has been born and I'm still experiencing symptoms. The baby blues, something I also went through. This is a very common but mild condition, and some of the symptoms include feeling overwhelmed, emotional, irritable, having rapid mood swings, also crying spells, difficulty sleeping, anxiety, and fatigue. The baby blues are considered a normal adjustment to the hormonal changes and stress associated with childbirth. Before I give you details about my story, I want to warn you, it's negative, and at the same time, it's been absolutely beautiful, and I would do it again and again and again. Nothing in this life compares to the feeling of having your baby on you for the first time. Nothing in this world compares to the bond that you begin to make day by day with your baby, and the kisses and the giggles and everything that involves a baby. So I definitely recommend having a baby and giving birth. It's the most beautiful experience, but now let me be real. The first night I was absolutely in love, but when it was time to sleep, I just couldn't sleep. I was afraid that my baby was not gonna breathe or that something was going to happen. I was in hyper alert. My adrenaline was up the roof, so it was really hard to relax. And at the same time, I was also worrying that when it was going to be time of me taking care of him, I was not going to know how to do it. Also, I had epidural, so I was barely able to move my legs. Well, that's a lie. I could move them, but I felt really weak, and one of my legs would, like, I don't know, bend. It was a little dead. So I was scared to have to wake up and try to hold my baby and fall. So there were a lot of things that I was worrying about the first night. And I think this was the beginning of my postpartum anxiety. I had no idea that this was happening to me. Maybe I would say I was in denial the first few days. The second day, the baby blues hit. And this was super strange because I remember having very extreme opposite feelings that were incongruent with each other. So I thought that I didn't want to leave the hospital because then I was gonna have to expose my baby to the world, and everyone was going to be able to touch him and see him and whatever, and I wanted to be just with him. And I was even jealous of my husband spending too much time with him, which was crazy because I absolutely love their bond and I want them to be best friends and have the best relationship ever. But yeah, I was experiencing that, so I felt like, wow, like how can I feel so jealous of something that I love so much? I love seeing my husband with my baby, but I want my baby to myself. I want my baby to experience the world and go out and be loved by everyone, but I also am scared that something will happen to him. These feelings were making me feel a little crazy. So those were also cognitive symptoms of what I was experiencing during the baby blues and the postpartum anxiety. And obviously everyone's different, so your experience may be different, but think about the framework of what's happening, the map of what's happening. Incongruent thoughts, conflicting thoughts, sadness, anxiety, preoccupations of the future, big insecurities, all of those things were part of my symptoms and my experience. Now, something that was a big factor of the intensity of my symptoms was breastfeeding. I did not know how hard this is. I really thought that humans were skilled on breastfeeding, that moms knew how to do it and babies knew how to do it, and you just put your baby on top of you and they latch, and then you have a beautiful feeding experience with your baby. But that's not how it works. Surprisingly, humans are the most vulnerable newborns. They don't know how to feed, they can't walk, they need to be held in special ways. They're very vulnerable and you have to guide them. And I didn't know this. So if you have a friend that's pregnant, make sure you give them a package or, I don't know, a special course on nursing so you can really make the life of this person easier. I want to make a whole video on my breastfeeding experience because that is pretty long and I don't even know where to start. But as a summary, I want to say that since the beginning, since the first second the nurses latched him on me, I developed cracked nipples and bruises and just disaster. They were forcing the baby on me and explaining things to me, but you know, I was on drugs pretty much. I had an epidural given to me and I really didn't understand what was happening. And their words and their teaching was like Chinese to me at the time. So yeah, the first day I already had really bad bruises and this continued on and on until today. As I said, I didn't want to cry, but it's really hard not to. Today, I started taking pills to stop lactation, to stop my milk supply. Yeah, and my baby is 7 weeks and I just couldn't do it anymore. I had the worst cases of everything happen to me. Again, bad teachings from the nurses, which is not their fault. I should have learned, as I said. And my baby had tongue tie and we had to do a small surgery for that, a small procedure to take it off. After that, he still had more that they didn't take off well, and I didn't want to put him through more, you know, surgery or anything like that. I developed 4 mastitis or mastitis, I don't know how to pronounce it. Candida or a yeast infection on my breast, nipple trauma, and yeah, just a lot of difficulty with latching my baby. And this exacerbated my symptoms of postpartum anxiety because I was constantly worried about what's going to happen next, what's going to be my next sickness or diagnoses, and what pills am I going to have to take next. And finally, I want to say that ironically, I am a therapist, and the worst part is that I could not take care of myself or follow my own advice. I was so deep into the rabbit hole, and yeah, the hormonal imbalance is so strong and overwhelming that I really couldn't think straight. So if I could go back and do things differently, these are the things that I would do. First thing I would do is do all possible readings and trainings, in-person trainings and courses on the 4th trimester or the postpartum experience, including breastfeeding. And also, I know a friend that took one that teaches you how to change a diaper with your partner included. Feed your baby with a bottle, feed your baby with breast, how to change clothes, how to hold your baby, how to take care of their neck. All of that stuff is really important. Being a parent doesn't come out naturally. You need to learn some skills. Second, if you have a therapist, make sure you book some sessions in advance or you reserve some sessions postpartum. You're not gonna want to attend maybe, or you're not gonna have time, but make the effort. It's really important that you talk to your therapist during this time, just to check in, just to talk, just to tell them about what's going on, because they're going to understand you and be non-judgmental. I mentioned my family was there for me, and they were absolutely amazing, but they also got frustrated. They also got scared. They also wanted me to feel better, and sometimes I didn't have the best advice, but they tried their best. So having a neutral, non-judgmental person is also really helpful. Third, speak up. I know it's embarrassing to have all of these thoughts. I know it's really shameful to feel that you can't take care of your baby, or to feel that you're doing things wrong, or you can't feed your baby, or you can't be awake for their next feeding and you need to take a nap. All of these things feel embarrassing, but you need the help, period. If you need to take a nap, speak up. Say, hey, I need to take a nap. Can you take this shift? This is how I communicate these days with my partner. Or, hey, I need to go, I don't know, run these errands. Can you please send me updates and pictures of the baby so I can be at peace and know that my baby is doing well? So all of these things are important. Whatever you need, just ask for it. Fourth, take care of yourself. Sleep, eat well, take showers, and make sure that sometimes you do some makeup as well, so you feel pretty and you feel confident. But most definitely make sure you sleep. Right after you give birth, you have a lot of adrenaline in you that stays there for, I don't know, I think a few days. Because in my experience, the first day, second day, and third day, I went without any sleep, and I thought I was fine. Maybe I wasn't. You may think that you can keep going at this rhythm, but you can't. There's going to get to a point that you're going to be absolutely irritable. You're not going to remember things. You're going to be so tired, and this again can affect other symptoms like the postpartum depression and anxiety and make things worse for you. I remember that I would go to the doctor, and the doctor would ask, how many pees and poops does the baby do in a day? And I was like, I don't remember. What day is today? I don't even know what time is right now. Make sure that your brain is okay, and for your brain to be okay, you need to sleep. And this is not me saying it, but sleep deprivation will cause emotional distress, weakness, impaired cognitive dysfunction. It can also affect your immune system and everyone around you, including your baby. Final thing I want to recommend is to go outside, get some sunlight. I know that maybe the first few days you just want to be at home with your baby, but you need a change of environment. Sunlight is really important, vitamin D. It's something I didn't do, and I didn't want to do the whole first month, but when I started doing it, I began to feel more myself, and I also began to feel more energized and was able to want to be, you know, awake and about. So those are the 5 things I recommend postpartum. I hope that this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, if you want to know more about, you know, postpartum anxiety or depression, please ask me down below in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon in another video.